Hey y'all, so I was reading the book of Daniel, and there was a lot in this text that kind of helped with things that's going on in today's time, for me at least. I kept noticing that the enemy likes to be recognized. Like, he really wants us to bow down to him and give him honor, like he pretty much asked Jesus to do in the New Testament. But the same thing kind of was happening in the book of Daniel too. Daniel pretty much became, I'm going to say, captives of King Nebuchadnezzar. And while they were supposed to be serving him, King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. And when he had this dream, he asked that all the sorcerers, pretty much people that's into magic and witchcraft, he asked them to interpret the dream for him. But on top of that, he didn't tell them what the dream was. He wanted them to tell him what the dream was, just to make sure that they said, whoever they said they were was who they said they were. So all of these magicians and enchanters and people in witchcraft pretty much wasn't able to tell him the dream. And because of that, he pretty much banned he called them the wise men that was in his, I'm going to say, camp. So Daniel, which he had 3 other friends that he pretty much, okay, let me slow down. So Daniel was able to interpret these dreams. And he was able to interpret dreams because he called on God, the only one true living God. So Daniel found out that Nebuchadnezzar wanted to kill all the wise men. And he asked, like, well, why? Why does he want to do this? And the person that told him was because, these other people couldn't interpret his dream. So Daniel asked if he could have some time to talk to the Lord to see if he could do it for him, right? So King Nebuchadnezzar gave him some time. Daniel went ahead and he spoke to God, and God gave him a vision of what he showed King Nebuchadnezzar. So Daniel asked if he interpreted, can he save his friends too? So Daniel finally went to the king. He told him what the dream was, and then he interpreted it. And King Nebuchadnezzar was pretty much like, there's no other God above your God. And he pretty much honored Daniel for being able to do what the people into witchcraft wasn't able to do in this instance, right? So the main thing in that situation was the enemy likes to mimic God. So even though Daniel and those people that was into witchcraft were technically supposed to be able to do the same thing, God made sure in that instance to set Daniel apart to show that he's greater than the people that's trying to form witchcraft to do the same thing that God allows everybody to do if they call on his name. So God was slowly working on Nebuchadnezzar's heart by showing him these things through Daniel. And Daniel pretty much was receiving favor everywhere he go just because of his relationship with God. The whole witchcraft scenario was just to allow people to know that, yes, there are people out here that can perform signs and wonders and make it look like it's from God, but it's not. So we have to be very mindful of the things that we see and not be so wowed by it, because not everything that looks like God is God. Their God is the little g. Our God is the big G. So God will distinguish the difference between his people and people that's doing it out of witchcraft. And that only comes with relationship. You are going to have a relationship with God in these times, because things are happening that may not be explainable unless you have that relationship with God. And King Nebuchadnezzar was able to see this with asking them to do something that nobody would be able to do. How can you tell somebody else a dream that they had? Like, that doesn't even make sense. But for King Nebuchadnezzar, he wanted to make sure whoever was coming to speak to him was coming to speak to him from the truth. And God allowed Daniel to be able to give him the truth through him, because that was the only way. Everybody else that came and tried to do it wasn't able to do it. But what's key in it, if you call on God, God can do some miraculous things to help your belief. Because sometimes it is hard to believe things when you haven't seen it for yourself. So I just say, if you going through a time of unbelief right now, just ask God to show you in a way that will make sense to you, because he'll do it. I'm pretty sure King Nebuchadnezzar didn't have no specifics in not that he didn't have no specifics. I'm pretty sure he didn't have a specific person that he wanted to have it revealed to him through, because it wasn't about the people. His thing was he wanted it in a specific way to know that it was true for him. And God delivered on that through Daniel.